What's the deal, YouTube? What's going on with y'all, man? Back at it again. You know what it is. It's Sunday. I told you last video that I will be uploading a weekly analysis video on Sunday. And here it is, man, of my word. So we're going to go ahead and get straight into it. You know how we do things. We keep it real simple. Support and resistance, it really can't get too much simpler than that. So with these weekly analysis videos, all I'm trying to do is just show you my process of how I go through and find the trades that I take or look to take. And you can take these trades, or you can just look at the process and see how it is that I come up with what I see. So just like the last few weekly analysis videos, I've already went through and marked up some of the charts that I plan on taking trades on this week. That way we're not scrolling through every single pair, because there are a lot of them. So I just went through previously and marked up the ones that I'm interested in for this week. As of now, things could always change, but this is what I see as of today. And we're just gonna go ahead and run through those. So we're gonna kick things off with my favorite pairs. If you are a consistent viewer, AUD pairs is just what I do. So AUD, CAD. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom out. So always start off with finding your trend. That's the first thing. As you see here on AUD, CAD, we are in the uptrend. So the way you go about finding your trend is just looking at the overall direction of that chart. So if I was to just zoom out, you see that we've been moving up, generally speaking. So we are in an uptrend. You always want to follow that trend, or you can take a sell in an uptrend until it gets to a place where you're going to buy. So that's kind of what I'm looking to do here. So it's in an uptrend. Ultimately, as you see here, it says chart broke below this range, waiting for it to come and retest these highs up here. So I'm looking to buy, but because we have so much distance before we get there, I can possibly take a sell until it gets here, and then I'll go into buy. As far as setting my take profit, I just either go to close the gap. So let's say this is a peak, it comes down. The way I see things is that there's a gap created from top to bottom. So I take a trade, and sometimes I'll just close the gap right there. Or sometimes what I'll do is I'll just go and look for the next set of highs, and I'll just set it a little bit above there. So that's how I go about setting my take profit. And then obviously it'd be the same thing, but in reverse if it's a downtrend. So close the gap going down, or look for the next resistance level or support level if it's going down. So I'll zoom in to the 4 hour. You see that we have a range here created, really more so up here. And it's kind of actually in between just both of these. It's just stuck in here. And right now we have a strong push down out of that zone. So what I'm thinking it's gonna do is break and retest these lows, continue all the way down to push down here, and then go back into the uptrend. And the reason I say that is because like if you zoom out into the higher time frames, like the weekly, the monthly, you'll see that just delete these so they're out of the way for now. We've broken above these highs, and it's just gonna come back down to retest. So yeah, simple break and retest on the weekly chart is what I'm looking for, but I probably will take a sell down to that level. So then moving on to AUD/CHF. Another thing I want you guys to really start paying attention to is that most of the time, let's say I'm looking at AUD/CAD, AUD/CHF, AUD/USD, AUD/JPY, most of the AUD pairs are going to be kind of doing the same thing, unless there's something going on with the other half. So let's say the US dollar is super weak. AUD/CAD may be going down, but AUD/USD will go up because it's going against a weaker pair. So that's just something to keep in mind. For the most part, you kind of want to keep the same directional bias for your pairs. At least that's what I do. If I see a trade where all the AUD pairs are going up and there's one that's going down, I probably won't take the one that's going down, just because I know that the Australian dollar seems to be strong. So that's kind of why this looks almost exactly like this, because it's the same pair. And these yellow lines are just areas that I have marked for it to possibly reject at. So we've already got the break and the retest here. It's going to continue down, and I would like for it to pull all the way back down into the zone, so these last two yellow lines, but it's possible that it could stop at either one of these. So what I have these zones marked off, just the highs. So I have it here, it could possibly bounce there, it could possibly bounce here. I just have it set to where if I do start seeing some rejection, I'm ready because I have multiple zones marked as opposed to just having one area and just saying I'm sticking to this one area. Like I said, on the weekly, it's the same thing. So we're in an uptrend, broke above these highs. If I extend this over, you'll see that this is a part of that. So broke above the previous highs, coming back down to retest to hopefully continue upwards. And if not, then we'll be looking to start taking sales. So AUD NZD, as you see, I have it marked here. Strong New Zealand dollar is causing the fall. So New Zealand dollar got real strong last week. I feel like that's what caused the fall on AUD NZD, because like I said, it's all about currency strength. So all the other AUD pairs were working their way up, and AUD NZD just shot down. And that's because the New Zealand dollar got real strong last week. So I probably won't take this trade. I'm not sure. It just depends on how the news comes out for the New Zealand dollar pairs. And what you can do for that is just go to myfxbook.com. That's where I get all my news from. I don't really pay too much attention to them, but they are a factor. So New Zealand dollar may be a little bit weaker this week. We'll see what happens. If this doesn't happen, what it'll probably do is end up just making a double bottom out of that and then continuing up, which is kind of what it did already. I probably won't be taking this trade, so we'll go ahead and go to the next pair. So here we have CADJPY. Once again, I'm going to the daily chart. You see that we are in an uptrend, very clear uptrend, as a matter of fact. So that being said, we are looking for buys. We broke out of the little range we were in for a while. I'll go to the 1 hour chart so you can really see why I say it's a range. And when I say range, just because I know somebody will have that question, I'm just saying that price was stuck in a box. And this was the range I'm talking about, from this zone to this zone. It was just stuck in here ever since January 7th. So it's just been in this zone since January 7th. But finally we have a break and retest of this. So what I'm going to be waiting for now, I won't be taking any trades until it breaks out of this range. So what I want to see it do is break out of the range, come back down to retest the highs, and then continue upwards. And if it can do that, I feel like it'll be a really good trade. And the reason my stop loss on this one, like I said, is right here, is because if it can break above and retest, it should just go up. If it can come back down, then I know it's going to get back stuck into this range. And yeah, so real simple on that one. So what I've been just getting into lately is just marking out every single possible area where it can reject, because what I want to do is just wait for price to get there and watch how the candles move. So if it gets there and it sits, then I'll keep an eye on it. Won't be entering because you know what happens when I enter after price just sits. But what I'll be looking for is just waiting for price to get there and reject. And if it can reject strong and hold that rejection, then I'll get an entry. And rather than having one area and just be so focused on that area, I'd rather have several. That way, when it breaks through one, I can go on to the next and on to the next. All right, so up next we have CHFJPY, and this is exactly what I'm waiting on to happen for CADJPY. So if you see here, well, first let me go ahead and start off by zooming out, go to the daily. You'll see that we are in a very strong uptrend. Breaks, retest, breaks, went to a zone, and when we went to this range, you see we were stuck between these two zones here, this big one and this lower one, and price finally broke above this range, so broke out of this, broke above this high right here, and now I feel like it's coming back down to retest these highs, the most previous highs, and then from there it should continue up. So that's exactly what I'm waiting on to happen on CADJPY. We're in a range. I want price to break out of this range, so break past these highs right here, come back down to retest them, and then go up. Or it may even come down to here. It just depends on price action, honestly. It's a big, really trading is just about waiting to see what happens. You want to react rather than predict. Major key. React, don't predict. Waiting for a break and retest of highs to go long. I still set my take profits based on previous rejection levels. So this could be one of my take profits, and then ultimately take profit is based on these highs over here. And then after that, it'll probably fall, come back down to retest these. So we'll just see what ends up happening. So now moving on, we have EUR AUD. On the daily, we're in a downtrend, but it's at a major low, so it has to go back up to retest something before going back down. So this is why I say where you can take a buy in a downtrend or take a sell in an uptrend. Right now, it has to work its way up, and I think where you really be able to see it at is on the weekly. So the chart has to make it to at least here, I'd say. It may not come all the way up there, but it definitely has to make it to at least here. So I'll look to take that trade if it sets up. Get a strong daily candle close. So we definitely have upward momentum. So like I said, I'll just be waiting for it to see if it can come up here, back and retest. And if it can do that, then it'll be a good sign to go long. Next, we have EURJPY. So I'll start off once again by going to the daily chart. Here we're in an uptrend as of lately, but there's not really much going on. So this is kind of an example of what I saw earlier, where price will come to test previous highs. So we were in a range, price broke above, but it didn't retest here and continue upwards. That's why I say you want to react. So this is a trade that a lot of people probably took and lost out on. I'll actually go to the 4 hour and see what it looked like. So yeah, this is the exact type of trade I took on GBP-CHF. So, and lost last week. So price got here and it sat. What you wanted to do is get there and reject like here. So this is the type of trade you want to take right here. This is the type of trade you don't want to take, because you're going to end up taking a lot of losses. And then it even broke below, came back to retest, and continued downwards. So that's why I say it's better to react better than predict. When it comes to placing your trade, you want to wait until you get some type of movement that verifies your prediction. So what I'm waiting on this one, just because we have such a strong push upwards and we are in an uptrend, I wanted to break this high, come back, retest, and reject. Not sit there, but reject. So if we can do that, I think we'll be good. So let me go ahead and set a trade for this one. If we can do that, I'll get in here. My highest take profit will be here, and that's mostly because of this right there, this peak. I could put a little bit higher, but like I said, I just like to have an idea of every single area. And then as far as my stop loss, won't be way down there, I'll tell you that. I probably have it right. Let me go to the 4 hour. It'll probably be right here, because if it can break beyond this, it'll probably just, like I said, fall back into that zone. So I actually put it right there, right at the zone. If it doesn't reject right there, then we know that it's going to continue downwards, a little bit below actually, just because of the spreads. So this trade has a risk reward of 4.7, just about. And yeah, that's simple. And actually, I'll even put one here, just because I see there's a double top made here on the daily. So if it can make it way up there, it definitely won't do it this week, but that'll be a 1 to 6 almost. So, and then the way I trade, I don't really hold those type of trades, like, unless it just continues straight up the entire time. Once I start seeing some rejection, I'll get out, and then it'll go back down to retest, and I'll get back in, and it'll break that previous high. So I just get in and out, but I like to mark up the entire move. That way I know what the chart is, where it's going overall. So it may take 2-3 weeks to get there, but I know that that's what the chart is trying to do. And it helps me keep a directional bias long-term versus day-to-day. So on EURJPY, is that the one I just marked up? Yeah, never mind. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to the next one. So the next one is EURUSD. Not gonna lie, I don't know if I'm gonna be taking this trade. USD pairs give me the blues. Not the right blues, not blue screens. Like, USD pairs are so irritating to me because they're so volatile. The smallest amount of news can just destroy your trades on the US dollar. But we'll see what happens. If it lines up, I'm likely to take it, because I did take a trade on GBP USD last week. That ended up working out pretty well for me. So once again, waiting for a break of these highs, come back down, retest to continue upwards. It may just close this gap, or it may continue all the way up. Short, sweet, simple. So next we have GBP JPY lined up. And if I zoom out to the daily or 4 hour, you'll see that we're in an uptrend, so I'm looking for buys. And on the 4 hour, you'll see that it kind of already did like a fake break and retest. And what I've noticed lately, especially after losing my most recent trade, is that the chart has to really come back down and retest the zone before it'll make its real movement. So on GBP CHF last week, this is the trade that I talked about in the last video. Here's the trade that I took right in here, I believe. And it didn't really come down to test this zone yet. So it didn't make its move. So what you'll see is that it broke above, let me go to the 15 minute over here. So yeah, this is the zone that I was talking about. So it sat here for a little bit, but this was like not at the zone. So it broke below, did a real break and retest, and then made its push up, which was sickening because my entry was like here, but over here on this side. So it broke below, lost the trade, came back and did a break and retest of my exact entry, and then continued up. And that's why I said in the last video that my analysis is wrong, my timing is. So now I'm really focusing on just really fine-tuning things and paying really close attention to price action and making sure that the zone is actually tested. So moving on to apply that to GBP JPY, it hasn't actually came down and tested this zone yet. Or if I go to the hour, you'll see it better. It never really came down and tested here. So what I'm looking forward to do is push all the way down, actually test this zone, and then continue upwards. So, and then after that, I have one take profit that I'm looking at setting just to close the gap, or not even close the gap, just to come close to that area. And then the other one is set based on these highs over here. So this is the other one. And I have it based on these, not this one, just because this is a high area of interaction. So reject, reject, reject. So I may not make it all the way up here, but I'm sure that it'll hit there and then probably reject downwards. So with NZD-JPY, say waiting for a lower push to go down all the way into the zone to go long. So this is like what I said earlier. It didn't really retest these highs. So what I'm thinking it'll do is it'll make it a double top, come all the way down to actually push lower into the zone, and then continue upwards. Take profit is set based on these highs and this low. So just this interaction point over here. And then another one I could have. That's really it, honestly. We want to close the gap. Yeah. All right, guys, so that wraps up this week's weekly analysis video. Stay tuned later on in the week. Hopefully one of these trades with a bigger risk to reward ratio will pop off, and I'll make a video on that. And we'll just see what happens this week. So no matter what, if you are trading, don't forget to, like I said, pay attention to all the zones that it could possibly reject off of, and just watch price action. If a trade sits there, do not enter. Y'all gonna start seeing that's gonna be a big thing on this channel. Just giving major tips as to how to avoid losing, or how to just avoid taking a trade that you shouldn't have taken. So as I learn more, you guys will learn more, because I'm all about spreading information, making this whole trading thing as easy and as stress-free as possible, and as fun as possible. So like I said, that's it for this video. Yeah, let's turn these screens big blue this week, man. Looking forward to making some big profits. That's it.